Hey, welcome back to the Nurse Prescription Spot. This is Nurse, and I'm going to get in on something a little different. I've gotten a lot of requests about this group called Be First, and I'm like, Be First, Be First. Never heard of them. There's this track called Guilty that they perform live, and this was heavily suggested to me. I appreciate the comments, and I definitely appreciate it when you guys give me suggestions, because I really do try to do everything that you ask me to, because you're the audience. So come in here. Let's check out Be First and Guilty live. Let's check it out.
Dynasty, you're so wavy.
So this seems to be a performance in Korea, I believe, by Be First, performing Guilty. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, kicking off with some swagger. Love the music. The music's tight. The wardrobe, I love the variety in the wardrobe. We got some new unique looks out there. I love that. I love the attention. The audience is going nuts. They're going bananas in the crowd. So that tells me a lot right there. See confidence so far. Let's keep it going. So far, so good. Wait a minute, I hear a deep voice in there. Okay, all right, we know that sounds familiar. Definitely like it. I like the fact that they're spitting, they're doing some rhyming on it. So I see a lot of variety in this group. I look at them independently, not compared to another group. I like it. I mean, vocally, I'm feeling it. I think they can take a little harder though. This is just one song I heard from them, so I have to be fair. But it's like I just want to hear that punch a little bit harder. Maybe this is not the track. Maybe it's a situation where I need to listen a little bit more. Let's go ahead and check some more out. Okay. All right. Let's get it in. Welcome back. You know what? I enjoy this a lot. I love seeing new groups, bringing it to the table. You know, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be fair with this group and try not to compare them with any other group. But I have to be honest. I gotta like even a wardrobe. It was nothing extravagant, but they did have their own look. They did look clean. Whether they were flossing their caps or their unique pants or jeans. So I give it to them on that. They definitely have some people on board with their wardrobe. I'm gonna give them on that, and I'm gonna give them one on vocals. I think even though I feel they could come harder and stronger and more confident, they did carry their tunes. Nobody was out of tune. Nobody lost a note. I got to give it to them. They went up there and did their things on the vocals. Like I said, I could use a little bit more punch, a little bit more passion with that, driving it a little bit more. I think, I'm not sure if this is a new group or not. It takes time. It takes time. But, I have to give it to them. I definitely can appreciate the vocals on that. We're going to give it on personality. I just see a lot of personalities trying to emerge. It looks like, they're holding back just a little bit, just a little bit. And I think with time, they might be able to be more free flowing with the audience and bringing their, personalities to life. But I do see some personalities there, and I appreciate the effort. So I definitely see that there with them on that. We're going to give it on a production. I think the music was tight. It's K-pop, so I can appreciate that. So it has like, a more bouncy type of rhythm. Everything doesn't have to be hard and, raggedy and raw and rah, rah, rah. So I appreciate that K-pop flavor on it. So I give it to the production. It had a basic boom, 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 boom. That basic K-pop, P-pop type of bass line that keeps people, moving to it. So I can appreciate that with that. I'm going to give it to the audience participation. Even though I feel it could be stronger, they did pay attention to the audience, and the audience definitely paid attention to them. The audience was going nuts when they first started. So we're going to give it to them on that. And then, we're going to give it, on just the ability to come out and to have a certain level of stage presence. Again, whether you're new to the artistry or not, it takes a lot to be able to get out there and orchestrate your moves and to be able to deliver your lines and to be able to, move forward or step back. They had a lot of synchrony. So I believe that their stage presence in general, I'll give it to them as well. There's no denying that. They have a lot of appeal, very handsome young men, I just want to see more for them. So if you know a song or a performance from them that, really brings them to the forefront, bring it to me. I'd love to see it. I give them 5 from the nurse. I have to give them 5. I see the effort. I see the work that has been done. I'm going to take a little bit of a look back to see what they've done before and see if this is actually a step up for them. But I got to give it to them. Thank you for suggesting, Be First. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me at the Nurse Prescription spot where we bring prescription for those ears. Like, comment, subscribe. Please share my videos, okay? Ring the notification bell, please, so you know when I drop something else new on you. And I'm going to be, listening out. Send me something else about Be First. I definitely got that, interest in them. Help me out, This is a new group for me, all right? Thank you. You guys be safe out there. Peace.